So what I'm learning is for business owners, one of the biggest problems you run into when you're making content on YouTube is I don't have any idea what to make content about. Well, my goal is that after watching this video, you will never run into that problem again. Hey, if this is your first time here, my name is Jimmy. I helped this channel grow to 30,000 subscribers and over 4 million long form views. And now I'm helping business owners get more leads through YouTube content. So today we're going to be going over the 3-step process I use to never run out of ideas, the 1 mindset shift that will instantly allow you to come up with 10 times more ideas, and then I'm going to give you 5 viral videos you can actually start making today. So let's get into it. All right, so jumping right into the presentation here, we're going to go through the 3-step process that I use to never run out of ideas. And because the first problem you run into is that you're staring at that blank page, it's staring back at you, taunting you even, and you have 0 ideas. You feel like you couldn't come up with a good idea if your life depended on it, and it doesn't, but you still want to come up with good ideas. So I found that there's a step that comes before coming up with ideas that most people overlook, but some of the most successful people swear by this. So to understand it, let's look at this guy. Now, if you are in the business world, you probably know who this is. This is Alex Ramosi, and he has some experience coming up with ideas. So for reference, here is his experience when it comes to coming up with ideas and producing content.
I made 35,000 posts over 40 months and grew a 7.8 million person audience.
All right, so he created 35,000 pieces of content, 7.8 million follower audience. So he probably knows a thing or two about creating content and coming up with good ideas. So to understand coming up with good ideas, we're going to be looking kind of the process that he uses. So you might think when you see Alex Ramosi and see that he's created so much content and has a lot of good ideas, you might think that he was just born knowing how to come up with good content. But I was surprised that his first step of the whole process is actually stealing. I said it. Alex Ramosi is stealing, because surprisingly enough, he doesn't just sit there and like, oh, what's a good idea to make? What is a good video to make? He actually starts by consuming some of the best content. And what that can look like is it can be blogs, it can be YouTube videos, books, tweets, short form content, basically anything he can get his hands on. And the goal is to figure out what's working on the platforms. He's not starting from a blank slate. He's first collecting things and looking to see what's working. But not only does he do that, he actually takes it a step further, because not only does he consume this content, but he actually starts collecting it. And it allows him to build one of the most powerful tools if you never want to run out of ideas, and it's called a swipe file. And a swipe file basically is just a place or a collection of those ideas that you've seen that are really high performing, and you actually use those as inspiration. So here's a look at one of my own swipe files for YouTube titles. So on YouTube, I've created a playlist where I keep these. So anytime I see a title that is kind of grabs my attention or I think it will perform really well, then I'll add it to this playlist. So then when I'm coming up with my own YouTube titles, I can go back here and I can use these as inspiration. The goal is to capture some of the best content and then save it as inspiration for later, like I was saying. So here are different examples of different swipe files that I've created. So inside the YouTube playlist, not only do I have titles, but I have thumbnails. Anytime I see a video with good editing, I add those. Different popular videos in my niche or outside of my niche. Any popular videos I can get my hand on, I'll put it inside that playlist. And then also possible prospects or different leads that I want to reach out to that are on YouTube, then I can add them to a separate playlist so I have a list of those as well. And then also I take a lot of screenshots. So if I see a headline that catches my attention or different tweets that I like the structure of, I'll actually either screenshot those or add that to my bookmarks folder, and then I can use those as inspiration later. And then on the platforms, you can also just save different videos in different folders. So I like to save short form content that either has a good hook, or if it does a good job of keeping me watching until the very end, I like to save that. Step number 2, get the swipe file, collect it so you have all those things. And then now it's time for step 3. So again, how many pieces of content did Alex create in the last 40 months? 35,000 pieces of content. The next step in the process is you actually need to make some content, because more than likely you have video ideas, you have ideas for content, you're just not making the content. And I understand where you're coming from, because a problem that I struggled with for a long time is I don't want to waste my time making something that no one cares about. So how do I figure out what people care about? Well, there's actually a couple solutions to that. So the first solution, Alex uses this a lot, is by making small bets. So here is a kind of a rough look at how Alex creates content. So if you're familiar with Gary Vee, he uses the long form to short form pyramid. It's not a pyramid scheme. It's just a pyramid. It's just a triangle. And he creates one long form piece of content and then repurposes that in a bunch of different ways. But I've noticed that Alex actually does it the opposite way. So he starts with very small content, small bets with tweets. So anytime he comes up with an idea, kind of stream of consciousness, he's throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. And then you can look back at your tweets, see what people are replying to, see what they're liking, see what they're saving, and then turn those into Twitter threads. And that'll be kind of like the outline of your video. And then if people are responding to that, they probably want more of it. So that's how you can make it into a full-length video. Because the goal for these videos, if you don't want to waste your time, is to actually validate the idea before you make the long-form content. But if writing tweets is not your thing, there's actually an even more powerful way to give yourself the best chance of making high-performing content before you ever hit record. And it's the same way that we use to get our most popular video, which is now sitting at 2 million views, 8,000 subscribers, made a nice chunk of change there, got some revenue from that. And it's incredibly simple. It's almost embarrassingly simple. So basically what we did is we found a high performing video on YouTube and then we remixed it and made it our own. And I think you'd be surprised how many YouTubers actually do this. So the next time you're on YouTube, look at different videos and you'll see, okay, this video was made, performed really well, and then these other people made videos that were inspired by it. So that's what we did. We found a video that was uploaded 8 months ago, and then we used that as inspiration, and then I made our own version of that. And this was the result. So you don't really have to overcomplicate it. So a lot of YouTubers, they want to make sure there's an audience for their video before they make the video. So they're looking at videos that already have views and then making videos based on that, if that makes sense. But the ultimate problem is that even if you do all this research and you're validating the idea, you still won't know what's actually going to perform well. And that's why you actually just need to make content. You want to try a whole lot of different things. You can use inspiration, but you want to try a bunch of different things. And then once you do find something that works, you want to make more of that. All right, so that's the 3-step process. And now I'm going to go into the simple mindset shift that will instantly help you produce 10 times more ideas. At least it did for me. So one of my favorite videos that was for coming up with ideas was from this channel, Ship 30 for 30. It was called How to Generate 100 Plus Viral Content Ideas in 30 Minutes. So I'll actually go ahead and put this in the link in the description. Highly recommend watching it. So much good stuff here. But there's one specific video, one specific idea that I want to pull out of it. And it was kind of the takeaway if you want to come up with more ideas. So I learned that if you want more ideas, you need to add specificity to your ideas. Give you an example of this. So say I was making a video about how to script a YouTube video. If I make that video, I'm like, well, I've talked about scripting already, so I can never make a video related to scripting ever again. And then if you're talking about how to grow a YouTube channel, there's only like 10 topics you can talk about, and then you are out of ideas. So you're like, well, I guess I'm done with YouTube. I've used all my ideas. But if you use specificity, you can get more ideas, and I'll show you how. So instead of saying, I want to make a YouTube video on how to script a YouTube video, you can talk about how business owners can script their YouTube videos. And then one layer deeper than that, how you get even more ideas, is you can talk about how business owners can use social proof in their scripts to make more sales. Now, obviously that wouldn't be your title because a very, very small number of people will click on that. But when you're coming up with a core idea, the more specific you can be, the more situations you can be applying the thing to, and then you'll have more ideas. And then also kind of just a bonus tip here, they have what's called their endless idea generator, which again, watch the video, super good. But there's different frames that they use to come up with more ideas. So you can talk about tips, tools, hacks, advice, resources, lessons you learned, mistakes to avoid, advice to your past self, different trends. You can even share a swipe file. You can talk about your target avatar's fears, their failures, their struggles, paradoxes. So there's so many different frames that you can use the core topic and then pair that with one of these and you'll come up with so many more ideas. All right. And then as promised, I have 5 video ideas that you can make today that have already performed really well. And I broke them down. I have the video and then I also have kind of the underlying structure for it. So this first one, how I make time for everything, even with a full-time job. So the underlying structure there is how to get desired outcome with specific obstacle. So for your target audience, you want to figure out what they really want, what their desired outcome is, and then what obstacles or specific situations they're in, and say, hey, even with that, you can still get the desired outcome if you watch this video. So for me is how to how business owners can create YouTube content even if they don't have a lot of time. So that's how I would apply it to me. And that would be 483,000 views they got on that one. Now, this is one that has been performing really well for a lot of different people. It's super simple. It's my honest advice to someone who wants to get desired outcome. So it's my honest advice for someone who wants financial freedom. So again, swap out the financial freedom for whatever your target audience desired outcome is, throw that together, get 1.6 million views. Results not guaranteed, but again, it is a pretty good idea. The next one, which blew up, I saw this all over YouTube, is 30 years of business knowledge in 2 hours and 26 minutes. The format would be X number of years of niche knowledge in whatever the time of your video is. And the appeal to this video is this guy has 30 years of business knowledge. He's condensing that down to one single video you can watch. So obviously that's very appealing. And I think that's one of the reasons why I got 5.5 million views. And then we have Mr. Alex Hormozi again. And this one I think is helpful. It's a little bit different, so it's not desired outcome, but you can talk to their current painful situation and then also tie that with a common question. So he said, I'm broke, painful situation. What business do I start? A very common question, and then also frame it as a step-by-step guide. So if a person is in that situation and they have that question and they see this video saying it's a step-by-step guide to overcome that problem, I think they're gonna click it. If they don't, I apologize, but I think they might. And then we have Mr. Alex Hormozi one more time. If I wanted to become a millionaire in 2024, this is what I do, full blueprint. So if I wanted to get desired outcome in 2024, this is what I do, full blueprint. And then also bonus points to him because not only did he show it in the title, but he also showed it in the thumbnail, because then you can see the idea, okay, 0 to 1 million, that's desired outcome. And then the full blueprint, you see exactly in a glance what he does. So that makes it, and a perceived likelihood of success goes up. So more people are likely to click this, and he makes it very believable that he can actually get you there. All right, so now that you have the idea, because hopefully you have more ideas than when you started this video, what do you do? Well, if you actually want to get views and not just have ideas sitting around, you need to create a good title and thumbnail. And that's why I created this video where I break down how pro YouTubers basically force you to click on their videos. Spoiler alert, they use clickbait, and you should too. So go watch that video.